Distinguished guests and fellow Americans, I accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States. I'm honored by your confidence, and tonight I make this pledge. I will give this campaign all that I have, and together we will make George W. Bush president for another 4 years. Our president understands the miracle of this great country. He knows the hope that drives it and shares the optimism that has long been so important a part of our national character. He gets up each and every day determined to keep our great nation safe so that generations to come will know the freedom and opportunities we have known and more.
Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died, his career in politics spanning decades. A commanding presence in the White House after 9/11, advising President Bush and pushing for the U.S. war in Iraq. A lifelong conservative voice who became a vocal critic of President Trump in his late years. Here's our chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl, tonight.
Flags are at half-mast at the White House and Capitol tonight in honor of former Vice President Dick Cheney, one of the most consequential and polarizing political figures of our time.
They wouldn't call me Darth Vader for nothing.
Tonight he is remembered by the president he served, George W. Bush, for his role in guiding America in the aftermath of the September 11th attacks. President Bush writing, he held to his convictions and prioritized the freedom and security of the American people. Former Presidents Biden and Clinton paid tribute as well. Clinton writing, though we often disagreed, I always respected his dedication to our country and his unwavering sense of duty.
He is without a doubt fully capable of being the President of the United States.
He became the most influential vice president in American history. On 9/11, with President Bush traveling, it was Cheney from a bunker below the White House who ordered the military to shoot down any unresponsive aircraft. He was the architect of America's war on terror, making the case for the 2003 invasion of Iraq, arguing that Saddam Hussein possessed weapons of mass destruction. Cheney defended the war even after it was later revealed there were no weapons of mass destruction. And he defended the use of harsh tactics, including waterboarding, which many regarded as torture.
I was a big supporter of waterboarding. I was a big supporter of the enhanced interrogation techniques.
How is Dick Cheney going to be remembered?
I saw a lot of history, was there when a lot of it was made. I'm very comfortable with what I did and why I did it and how I did it, and I'll let others judge whether they liked it or not.
Somebody big just died. Former Vice President Dick Cheney is dead at 84 years old. And my friend Mike North is here to help eulogize him. Mike, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, Joe. Good to talk to you. And we're going to talk about the former vice president in just a minute. But before we do, we got to pay some bills or we got to take care of some people. And you know what? There's no show. There is no Somebody Big Just Died without Cumberland Chapels, ladies and gentlemen. The 8300 West Lawrence Avenue in Norridge, Illinois. Anthony Lupo Sr. and Jr., Martino, Pete and Louis Martino Jr., taking care of people in the area and the surrounding suburbs in Chicago for decades. Testimonials, we have them right here for you. Maybe you knew some of these people. Maybe you'll get familiar with some of the names if you remember living in Chicago and you're watching this from some other town, because we are the World Wide Web. A great place. Have plenty of chapel room, plenty of chapels, vestibule, no waiting in line, long lines, parking on the sides, behind, and in the front, across the street, side streets. You got it. Just the best Cumberland Chapels. And then you have, of course, Pennyville Station there at 112 Main Street in Park Ridge. You have, I have no, right now I can't see the commercial. I know you folks can, but sometimes the browser fails to play the video clip. So I'm just going to tell you, you got the, the breaded cauliflower, the chicken, Tino's, you got the happy hour from 2 to 5. Pennyville Station. I was just there recently, and My guy, Tino Antonacci, was there. He's there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday during the day, formerly of Basta Pasta, where we did all those great TV shows. And then Tony, his son, Tony Antonacci, is the owner and proprietor of the fine place. Tony puts together just a great stuff. They're great food, great for couples and everything else. So check it out there at Pennyville Station. And yeah, I don't know how you felt about Dick Cheney. I don't care how people feel about Dick Cheney. I know we honor people on this show that are big enough, so there's no question that
no doubt.
But I was not a fan of Dick Cheney's. I just wasn't. I was not a fan. And as a guy that's an independent guy, but knows where allegiances are supposed to be, I found him disloyal at times with his party. I found that, and we found out all about that later on with his daughter, who he basically sealed her fate, Liz Cheney's fate, by having her go against the president for the January 6th committee, whether people think that's legitimate or not. And Dick Cheney was behind that. When you describe the swamp and what this president did, you're looking at him as a kid before he became corrupt. This is a guy that had, and myself being drafted, and I almost went to Vietnam, and I have to tell everybody that tonight, which was funny, getting ready to do this show, there was a 30 on 30 I hadn't seen that I recorded on Rocky Blyer, who actually went to Vietnam, and they show him going back to Vietnam at the age of 72 and breaking down and crying and knowing that so many guys died. So as a guy that almost had to go, just with the fear of that in my heart, thank God the orders were canceled and Nixon had to put everything on hold because of the Paris peace talks. I could have gone, and 57,000 guys died, and this guy got 5 deferments. 5. And I never forgot that. And I told a friend of mine the other day that we were talking about Dick Cheney, and he's a former Marine. He didn't know this. And it changed his attitude a little bit, because if there was a war to be had, Dick Cheney was ready for it.
That's true.
That right? Am I right or wrong, Joe? And Joe and I never talk before any show. And,
no, we don't.
And I will be honest with you. We've done everybody from Robert Blake, the low of the lows, to George Foreman. And I always had something pretty good to say about everybody. This one here, I have an issue with. I just think that he did some things that were not kosher. He ended up being the president of Halliburton that ended up getting defense contracts. He was involved in 3 wars, but he served the country. And he was the most unpopular vice president in history by the time he left, at 13% of the vote. He had his strong years, and when he left, he had his weak years.
That's right.
I did not hear a whole lot of hand-wringing. Okay? There's no doubt that the weapons of mass destruction blew up in his face. He lost
no pun intended.
Right. And I think Joe would agree on that. You know, you say something's there, you better make sure it's there.
Yeah,
I happen to think they might have moved him. And by the time everything in Washington got through all the red tape and they decided to look for him, they moved him. But that's beside the point. Even if that happened, he wasn't ready. And it just screwed that whole thing up. And that guy that you're looking at there was the engineer. Was the guy that misled Bush. Was for himself. He did not mind war as long as he wasn't in it. And that's why I'm not a fan of his. He was at the age. I mean, this guy here ended up his education. He went to Yale, of course he did. Then the University of Wyoming. He was born in Lincoln, Nebraska. Richard Bruce Cheney, January 30th, 1941. He died November 3rd, 2025, at the age of 84. He was just a climber, in my opinion. A climber. And he got to almost to the top. He was just too harsh of a guy to ever, I think, be a president.
Well, he called himself Darth Vader, right?
Right. So he didn't mind the image. The image, though, was not going to get him a presidency. But he was the chief of staff for the White House. His resume is second to none. I think he was disloyal at times. I think if you've seen like documentaries or movies, Joe and I were talking about Christian Bale as Dick Cheney, and I brought up Richard Dreyfuss played him also. That's another one, Joe, we got to put in the historic archives. That was me at school, my 10th year. That's a guy that could have been in that administration too. A guy, of course, Robert Irsay. But I don't know how he was Secretary of Defense from 1989 to 1993. He was involved in making the budget. He was big on international. He was international situations. I mean, he was a bright guy. He just wanted to go and clobber everybody.
He handled 9/11 because George Bush was traveling. He ordered.
Yeah, he handled it, and that absolutely. Guy did some good things. Guy did some bad things, but there's no doubt that he did some things that I knew about even when he was vice president that I wasn't happy with. So that's just my opinion. But the other thing was getting involved in government contracts after he left, becoming president of companies after he left. But he, if you look at Dick Cheney, check him out on Wikipedia. He shot his friend while they were hunting. I mean, who the hell? Look at that. I don't like her. But he shot his friend while they were hunting. And of course you take full responsibility. How do you do that? All right. Now the guy recovered. Thank God. I remember when it happened. I would never go hunting with Dick Cheney. Because I guarantee you, more than half the country said he did it on purpose. He did it on purpose. He had something against that guy. And the other half said, hey, it was an accident.
I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah. So what's your impression of him, Joe? Because I know we have a lot of the same, not complete, but some of the same political beliefs. There it is. Cheney injures a friend during South Texas hunt. How you doing? I think I'll shoot you.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah. So what's your impressions, Joe?
Listen, you can't take away for how strong he was as a leader.
Yes.
And how war-wise and all of that. But I do agree, like, he stuff towards the end, not being loyal, and all the owning different companies and stuff like that, and the war contracts. He
wasn't squeaky clean. He was a politician. That's all there is to it. And he got some powerful positions. There's no doubt he was one of the most powerful politicians of his era. None. But I just didn't like some of the shenanigans that he pulled. I don't think George Bush liked some of the shenanigans that he pulled. I know Colin Powell hated him. They hated each other.
He didn't make a ton of friends in politics.
Well, yeah, but I mean, within the circle, even like Rumsfeld, these guys all were after each other. You know, Bush, to his credit, was above the fray. You know,
Yeah.
and
Well,
didn't want to
and
get
he was
involved.
close with Rumsfeld in the beginning too, Cheney.
Donald Rumsfeld, born in Wilmette, Illinois, ladies and gentlemen. That's, if I'm not mistaken, the dapper one, as I used to call him. Yeah,
I'm gonna fact check that real quick for you. He was indeed born in Chicago, Illinois.
come on, Joe, please don't do this to yourself. You know, I
I just got to check.
you got to. I know we could get. I know nowadays. What do you mean? Yeah, Donnie Rumsfeld.
We don't want to be the fake news, Mike.
No, we're responsible. Well, we do know that this guy, Dick Cheney, passed away. Here, when you're reading on Wikipedia, disclosure of documents, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Disclosure of documents, okay?
Yeah.
Then I go down a little bit more, and it says CIA leaking scandal. That's within about five lines, okay? Back to back. Oh, then there was an assassination attempt on him.
That's right.
Yeah, 23 people were killed, 20 were wounded by Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan when he was there to visit, and he was the main target. So, he was not involved in a lot of positive things at times. He had some controversial views on President Obama.
Yes, he did, and he was also very vocal, outspoken against Donald Trump.
Yes, didn't like him at all. Then his daughter, who was set for life, got involved with the what they would call, the Republicans would say, she was the Republican on the committee, the January 6th committee. That was the end. That was the end of her. And they, her dad let her down the wrong path. She says, hey, I had to do this for my conscience. That's fine. But then her political career, because of whatever climate you want to talk about, was over. His views on President Trump, he was a dangerous guy, stuff like that. From April 2001, his approval rating was 63%. And 21% disapproval. By the time he left in 2009, his approval was 30% with a 64% disapproval. So he lost popularity awfully fast. But we always want to give our condolences, of course, because no matter how you view it, Dick Cheney, we've done other political figures. In fact, we just did Charlie Kirk not too long ago.
Yes, we did.
But this guy here, there he is with Nixon, who I happen to like, by the way. He stopped the war in Vietnam. And if you get a chance to see the Rocky Bleier 30 and 30, check it out. Also, condolences to the family of Dick Cheney. Now, we have also Bob Trumpy. And if I can find, let me get my guy here. Bob Trumpy. Here he is. Bob Trumpy, March 6, 1945, in Springfield, Illinois. And that's when he's born. Died November 2025. Big time Illinois athlete at the time. We wanted to give him an honorable mention. Also involved in sports radio in Cincinnati, but also called Super Bowls and the Ryder Cups for NBC. Worked with Dick Enberg, amongst others. He was 6'6", 230-pound tight end. Played for Illinois University. Had a storied career there. Bob Trumpy ended up leaving Illinois in 1964, and then playing for Utah in 1966. He was a 12th round draft pick, played for the Bengals for 9 years. First team all NFL type of guy, twice NFL AFL All-Star game, twice. just a storied career in football and broadcasting. Our condolences to the family, and a great broadcaster in Bob Trump. So that's it, Joe. Busy night, huh?
Busy night and a busy day on the barroom tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. We got all sorts of stuff. The Bears, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody big just died. They refused to go down.
That's right. We're still alive.
So you got, what time's your show on tomorrow? Fantasy.
So we got the Barfly Tailgate show on before us. We got that. I think they go live around 9 a.m. And then you got Fantasy Football Goon. We got myself and the Tooch and Adam talking fantasy football. That comes on about 10:30. So tune in for that. And then, of course, you got all the Bears talk all day long here on the barroom. So don't miss it.
Yeah, the man who makes it all possible, my buddy. I got to call him. I haven't talked to him because he's my buddy Aldo Gandia getting the
He's a grandfather again.
I know he is. I sent him a nice
God bless him.
Yeah, God bless him. That's two now. That's it, Grandpa Gandia. Anyway, great time. We thank our sponsors, of course, Cumberland Chapels, Pennyville Station. And folks, check out the key lime pie at Pennyville Station.
Ooh, good stuff.
I brought a whole pie home before BB the other day. Just had the last slice tonight. Outstanding. So thanks for listening. Support our sponsors. Well, Cumberland Chapels, just think about them in time of need. But Pennyville Station, check them out. In the meantime, on behalf of Joe Mandel, myself, and everybody here at the bar, have a good one, everybody. Good night.